I do have a few of Dr. Luyaluka's books, and he has many. So just to confirm, how many books have you published? Because it's a lot.
I think I have published 13.
Wow.
And many scientific paper, maybe 30 scientific paper and 13 books.
Wow. Wow. So we're going to tap into some of your knowledge today, and I'm sure the audience is very excited. So already I've got Shanice in the comments asking where can we find those. Now there's a URL that appears at the bottom of the video that you're currently watching this live. I've put the link to Dr. Luyaluka's website there, so you can access all of his books and all of his works there. All right, so moving forward. So if we can get a bit more into BaKongo cosmology, because this is an area that a lot of people have interest in, because it's quite hard to find information on certain regions of Africa when it comes to the indigenous spiritual philosophies and practices. So if you could give us an overall framework, how would you describe it for us?
The first thing I have to say is this. When I study BaKongo, which is the Congo religion, I do it as it be convergent with the religion of ancient Egypt and Sumer. It is counterproductive to study those three religions in isolation. Those three religions share, spread the same message. So by studying them together, we get a better view of them. So what am I going to do first? I'm going first to state that cosmology, as it is taught in those three schools, and I'm going later to introduce the scientific, to demonstrate that it is a scientific reality by using the Ketic cosmological argument. So starting from Sumer with an ancient Egypt, we learn that at the beginning, the earth and the heaven were united. People may take this as fancy, but it is not fancy. The Congo religion, the Sumerian religion, teaches that God the Most High is transcendent. And it teaches also that God is love. If God is love and God is truth, then he made man free. He made his children free. He provided them with free will. But free will means a possibility of having a choice. So evil must be present in order for them to make a choice. But we know also that the heaven is a plane of perfection where evil cannot exist. So the fact that the heaven and the earth, the heaven symbolizing perfection and the earth symbolizing imperfection, the fact for them to be united means that the earth was only potential. That's where starts the notion of the potentiality, the noon of the Egyptian. So the evil was there, but it was potential. By one of the way of saying this, they say that the water of the heaven and the water of the earth were mingled. Now, in order to understand this, you have to resort to Congo religion. In Congo religion, we learn that the ancestors abide in water. That water is called Mpemba. Mpemba means water has the abode of the ancestor. Now, these water symbolize purity. So it means that the ancestor abide in a universe of purity. Now, actually, you have not to take that water physically. No, it is a mental state, because the ancestors are supposed to be around the initiate, to be, for example, around me here, while I'm not in a physical water. So water symbolizes a consciousness of perfection, a consciousness of purity. So by saying that the water of the heaven and the water of the earth were mingled, they means only that both consciousness were at the same place. This means that the evil consciousness was only potential. Now, the free will given by to the children of God resulted in some of them misusing it, and these resulted in their fall. When those children of God has fallen, they has fallen in a state were characterized by darkness, disorder, and chaos because they have turned from divine order, from divine light, that they could not perish, they could not be annihilated because if they were annihilated, God would have been changed relationally. But God is absolutely immutable. He cannot change even relationally. So those fallen beings were not annihilated. This means what? This means that creation in ancient Egypt, in BaKongo, is not ex nihilo. Creation consisted in, first of all, in putting light because those people were in darkness. Creation consisted, secondly, in putting order and in allowing those people to take a form. Now, there is a proverb in Kikongo which say, Nzambi humba, hula kwanika vanga. Nzambi huba, hula kwanika vanga. Translated in English, it means God is a potter. He made only a bark. So this means that the element of the universe, the element of creation were there, that they were there potentially, and they were there in a state of formlessness, and the creator allowed them to take a form. The creator chased away light, it enabled them to see light. That's the nature of creation is not ex nihilo. So this resulted in the heaven and the earth being separated. We have seen that at the beginning, the heaven and the earth were united. But by the time the children, some children of God misused their free will, the Logos separated the heaven from the earth. This is illustrated in Egypt by this image where we see the god Shu lifting the god Nut above the god Geb. And that was the beginning of the temporal order has a separate reality. This is, in summary, what Congo teaches about creation. But now I can go, we can express this in its scientific content. In order to teach this in scientific content, we have to use the Ketic cosmological argument. A cosmological argument has used by philosophers enable them is it is intended to demonstrate the existence of God as such, the Most High God. However, in Western philosophy and Western theology, It never happened to demonstrate the existence of God. It only demonstrates the existence of a creator, and that creator is supposed to be the Most High God, which is not obvious. What I'm using, I call it a Kemetic cosmological argument. It goes beyond that limitation. So I can summarily state it this way. If we consider this temporal universe, it is made of individualities. You are an individual being, I'm an individual being, we are in individual country. So the universe is an individual entity. Because the universe is an individual entity, it must be the work of an individual creator. And because that creator is an individual entity, there must be other creators like him who are at least potentially creative. Their universe might not been set up, but they exist as creative entities. Remember, in these in this drawing of these Egyptian, the god Nut, the heaven, is represented as including many stars. This means that the multiplicity of creators who might be potentially creative. Now, from here, I use an hypothesis. This hypothesis is not indispensable. I just use it to bring concision. Let's take as an hypothesis that the universe, the creation, is comprised in the creator. If then we take all the creator, all the potential and manifest creators, we have a being who is the greatest possible being. And that greatest possible being, we call him the Most High God. You see that there is a difference between the Most High God and the Creator. Now, according to the Ketic cosmological argument, this Most High being must be transcendent, absolutely immutable, and must be absolutely indivisible. If he were not, then there must be a principle to explain his divisibility and his mutability. And that principle must be higher than the greatest possible being, which is impossible. So God is transcendent, God is immutable, God is indivisible. However, we have seen that each creator expresses an individuality which is included in the Most High God, in the greatest possible being. But the God, Most High God, is indivisible. This leads to the conclusion that each child of God, each potential unmanifest creator, expresses the fullness of God in a unique manner. That fullness of God we call the Logos. The Logos. So we have three reality. We have God the Most High, the Creator, and the Logos. When God acts, he does it through one of his child by the means of the Logos. When a child of God acts, he acts thanks to the Logos and he acts for the Father. That is solar Trinity. This Trinity was seen in Egypt. Now, the question is, what is the locus of the temporal universe in relation to the Most High God? The first point is, the temporal universe cannot be in the Most High God. Otherwise, at the moment of creation, God would have been sustained a change because something in him would have gone from potential state to manifest state, which is impossible. It cannot be outside of God because by being the greatest possible being, The Most High is also the greatest possible reality. So, if creation were outside of Him, then creation plus God will make a reality greater than God, which is impossible. So, creation, the temporal universe, is neither in the Most High God nor outside of Him. But remember, we said the temporal universe is in the Creator. Then we come to the conclusion that the temporal universe is only an appearance of the celestial reality in the temporal consciousness of the Creator. In other words, the visible realm is only an appearance of the invisible realm. Now remember that this conclusion, this is this is exactly the philosophy that was taught by Plato after being in Egypt. So he learned this in ancient Egypt. The fact was that he could not demonstrate the validity of his theory, while we are stating it scientifically through the Ketic cosmological argument. This was known also of the Yoruba of Nigeria. They say that the visible universe is just an appearance. This was known also of the BaKongo, according to Placid Temperance in his book, the Bantu philosophy. He says that for the Bantu, the visible man is only an appearance of the invisible reality. So this leads us to what? We have seen that creation was not ex nihilo, because the children of God already existed. They have fallen in a state of unsubstantiality, and the Creator only helped them to recover a relative state of substantiality. So, what
Mhm.
we see is only an appearance of the reality which always existed and which is divine. Now, I have demonstrated scientifically the doctrine of uh, theology proper, the nature of God. I have introduced the doctrine of the Logos, which is in Christianity the doctrine of Christology, the nature of the Christ, not to confuse Christ and Jesus. I have introduced the doctrine of Trinity, God the Most High, God the Creator, and the Logos. I have introduced the doctrine of cosmology, the visible universe being only an appearance of the invisible universe. I can extend all these up to the doctrine of salvation. So, what we have is a set of deductive, coherent doctrine leading to salvation. Then we conclude that the cosmological argument depicts a scientific religion. This religion convergent with the religion of ancient Egypt and BaKongo? My answer is yes. In ancient Egypt, we have the notion of the Most High, a transcendent Most High God. He was called in the pyramid text the Soul Lord. He was called in the papyrus of Ani, which is called the Egyptian Book of the Dead. He was called the One Lord. Now you agree with me that the Soul Lord and the One Lord is the same idea. The Most High God was called in Sumer An or Anu. The Most High is called in BaKongo Nzambi Ampungu Tulendo. This Most High God is different from the Creator. The Creator is called in ancient Egypt Aton in the theology of Memphis and Enkai in Sumer. Thanks to the prophet Simon Kimbangu, we know that in Bukongo he is Mumba Loa, which literally means the solar porter, the solar creator. And the notion of the Logos is found also in Memphis. Remember, in Memphis it is said that the Logos Ptah acted in Aton in order for him to create. The sub notion is found also in Sumer, where Enlil, the Logos, acted in Enkai for him to create. So we have two entities in heaven, the Creator, the Most High God, and the Logos are acting together. In Bukongo, in Congo religion, the Logos at the celestial level is called Pinanza, and this is revealed by a prayer of Simon Kimbangu. In the temporal level, the Logos is called in the divine mystery Kimalungila. Now we have seen that the Logos is the fullness of God, in the fullness of the Most High, in gods and in human beings. This is fundamental because the purpose of religion in ancient Egypt, in Sumer, as in Congo, is to enable man to regain the loss of the of the manifestation of the logos. The logos has always been in gods and in human beings, but sin led to the loss of the manifest expression of the logos. So men became mere mortals. This truth is also taught by the myth of Maungu. According to that myth of Bukongo, the first human being was divine.